Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hello MJ friends, a much brighter day today in the sector with a lot of green out there based on two things. The first, the entire market bounced. The S&P 500 was up 1.2% today at its high, end of the day up 1%. So that alleviated fears in the short term about all this virus. So putting a stop to the dump was the first positive factor. And the second, of course, was CGC getting an upgrade from BMO, a reputable source, and they almost doubled their upgrade, citing the potential for a sentiment shift based on the next earnings. We have been talking about the sentiment shift based on technicals and weekly trend changes and things like that, but it must be nice to have the power with one little press release or one little news release to be able to completely shift short-term sentiment on your own. So yesterday, obviously, things were bleak. CGC had a weak close after an hourly oversold bounce. We closed near the low of the day, put out the little upgrade, and we see a gap up open, meaning anybody that shorted yesterday is immediately underwater, and then strength all day. Hourly bull flag, increasing bull volume into the end of the day, and a really nice strong close. Daily time frame, anything under $25 is a daily lower high, but the size of the bounce at this point is certainly significant enough that when we do top out, we will be looking for a higher low compared to 21.34. Is this our weekly higher low being set? Possibly. We do need that daily higher low and higher high to be confident in that, but it would certainly look good with our higher low last being at 1848, and this would be 21.34 if we can get enough follow through. So a nice sentiment shift coming out of nowhere, a bit of a surprise for the market. And that surprise is a good thing, again, in the process of squeezing shorts, because like I said, everybody that shorted yesterday and swung their position, which would have been a decent decision, risk to reward to swing that CGC short, not bad, but it burned the bears today. So anything on the hourly for CGC above 22.73 is a higher low. The hourly time frame is going to be our guide as to when this move tops out. When we lose the hourly uptrend, we zoom out to the daily and we look for the daily higher low. So congrats to the CGC bulls. The rest of the sector responded similarly, but not as strong. CGC up 11%, and APHA 3%, ACB 4%. Cron started catching up at the end of the day and closed strong, up 6%. But without that upgrade, in my opinion, CGC would be looking at more along the lines of a 4% kind of day with the rest of the sector. So that upgrade definitely shows us a lot of strength in response to it. So APHA did break that low of yesterday by a couple pennies first thing, then a bounce started. It's still one of the weaker names. Percentage-wise, it was up the least out of the major names on my screen. Resistance, 504 and 505 is a little double top. And the bulls have to break 505 to get this daily bounce going. If we do, we're just looking for a daily lower high compared to $6, which is still a long ways away. Don't lose sight, though, that APHA is still in a weekly uptrend as well. Anything above 452 is a weekly higher low, but a ways to go before we have any confidence in a weekly higher low being set for APHA. Obviously, a very big difference between the two. CGC can pull back at this point 10% plus before we drop to a lower low, whereas APHA at this point does not have nearly as much leeway, looking at less than half of that. ACB. So ACB is trying to shift some short-term momentum. The most important short-term resistance for me is 212, and then the top at 232. Again, we don't have a daily higher low and higher high at this point. If we condense things down to the 2-day time frame, here's our 2-day higher low forming, and we need this break of 232 for the clear sentiment shift. So lots of work to do for the bulls here as well. 212, 232 resistance. The hourly support is a higher low of 191. Cron catching up today, but again, anything under $9 is a lower high. I like the 4-hour time frame for clarity on some of these names. There it is with extended hours, but just noting how it's a nice bounce and good percentage gains, but still a lot of work to do considering where we came from. Weekly uptrend intact for Cron as well. Anything above 638 is a higher low. Bulls hoping 715 is our higher low. Check out the market videos that I've been doing, and today's going to be one in terms of having some nice clarity as to what we're expecting in the short term, because I do believe that that's going to have a notable impact on this sector as to whether or not we can see complete recovery from the bleak, bearish 2 days previous, Friday and Monday. TLRY, green day, but anything under 22.95 is a lower high. So the best case scenario for these bulls, Cron and TLRY, is to see more follow through to create space and top out somewhere, and then hold the low and change the daily trend. And again, Cron wanting the same thing on the daily. We're still so far away from resistance. Create as much space as possible, higher low on the daily, change the daily trend back in favor of the bulls. If that happens, we are confident saying our weekly higher lows have been set. Hexo, double bottom at 125. Long way to go to try and get out of this weakness. Short-term resistance of 151, but considering any bounce that we see, just a daily lower high, have to see the trend change for any clear shift. OGI. So, low, high, higher, low. Anything under 364 is a lower high. Bulls need more follow through to create as much space as possible to try and see this range continue to tighten. Hourly uptrend, trying to hold at 268. Any name that loses its hourly uptrend from here tomorrow or Thursday, it's a red flag. I won't say any name, because CGC can lose its hourly uptrend from here and it has so much space to work with, it's much less of a red flag. But if you look at a name like OGI, if it tomorrow drops down and breaks 268 and loses that hourly uptrend, that's a daily bear flag. So as much space as the bulls can create as possible to have a higher low once we top out. VFF, nice bounce, close of the high of the day. Short-term resistance of 598, we might as well call it $6. But I still consider anything under 670 a daily lower high. Viewing it as our low, big bull move, higher low, scouting a lower high. Labs, inside bar today, held support. Inside bar likely to break tomorrow. If we break 308, we look to 301. If we break 338, we look to 348. Don't really like the hourly chart for clarity. Nice and simple on the daily. Inside bar bull break, we're just going to look for a daily lower high, and if it's an inside bar bear break, there is a lack of support nearby in this range. Bulls really hoping for that inside bar bull break to try and put a stop to the bleeding. VLNS, anything under 393 is a daily lower high. Didn't break the high of yesterday, so still work to do. Not seeing nearly as much strength as the other major names today, but still in a weekly uptrend and trying for its weekly higher low. Lead USMJ bull explosion in IIPR. Huge follow through. Monthly higher low has been set. We're looking for a monthly lower high compared to the all-time high sometime in the next couple of months. The weekly trend has changed, joining CGC, APHA, Curaleaf, and all those other names. Resistance is 92.84, 96.50, and 98.83. Definitely extended in the short term, but a ton of space for a daily higher low to form once we do top out. Didn't consolidate clearly on the hourly time frame today. On this chart, it's going to differ depending if your candlesticks close on the half hour or the hour. If we lose the hourly uptrend, we're just looking for a daily higher low, but a really nice strong close, nice big bull volume, and just a huge surge the last 3 days as bulls bought that dip. And some news out in relation to, I believe, CL, Cresco, and property deal with IIPR. So nice weekly trend change. Again, the more individual MJ names that change the trend on the weekly, the better. Another note involving the US, we're heading into primary season in February. So the Democratic primaries, we're going to start seeing numbers. We're going to start changing probabilities. So the more information we get via polls, the closer to November we get, and the more primary results we get, the more the market is able to price in probabilities of who is going to be the front runner to go up against Trump. If it's Biden, it's bearish the sector. If it's Bernie or Elizabeth Warren, it's bullish the sector. So regardless of your personal opinions, if you want a bullish reaction in this market, you want Bernie or Warren to win. That is the most important, I should say the most significant possible short-term catalyst within the next, at this point it's 10 months away, that we can see, in my opinion, unless Trump surprises us all with, a big time, low probability surprise, which I don't anticipate. But if we want a short-term major sector-wide catalyst, it needs to be with one of those pro-MJ Democrats being elected. If Bernie is elected, is the stock market going to suffer? Yes. In my opinion, the MJ sector will be a safe haven sector in that scenario because the volume influx will outweigh any bearish correlation to the market overall. So again, I don't care what your political opinion is. You shouldn't care what my political opinion is. All we care about is how does it relate to the market, and it is time to start paying more and more attention every month that goes by. Curaleaf. So Curaleaf, anything under 992, just a daily lower high. We need more space here. We need more follow through so we can try and change this daily trend and set another weekly higher low on this chart. Nice bounce so far. Bulls want more. We want more space here. Hourly higher low. 871. We did break it by a penny at the end of the day. If bears see follow through tomorrow under 869, we are going to lose some of this momentum. And again, if this is as much of a bounce as we see, the bear flag is a possibility, which is why we want to see more of a bounce for the higher low to try and form. C-Web, same story, a little bit stronger close. Anything under 1180 is a lower high. Need more follow through tomorrow. A green day for the MJ sector tomorrow would go a long way, but we're waiting here to see what Apple earnings are going to be after hours, which is going to impact the entire tech sector, which is going to impact the broader market. But a green day on these names to create more space would be a welcome sign for bulls. TLRY is still not clear in the short term if we have topped out yet or not. Again, I like the 2-day time frame to condense this equilibrium. Has our lower high been set at $14.94? We're going to have to break $14 for us to say yes. So at this point, no, not yet. And bulls trying to hold on as long as possible. Best case scenario would be just to break $14.94 and keep this move going. But if 14 breaks, we then zoom out and look for the higher low compared to 1292. CL, weak bounce. Again, I want to condense this one down as well. The 1-day time frame, a little bit confusing in terms of clarity. Is this a head and shoulders pattern? It's possible, but I would be surprised if we were going to just drop down from here to break 745. That's a 10% drop. 9% drop. It's possible, but I would be surprised if that happens. I think the more likely scenario is our good friend, the tightening range. Bulls need more bounce follow through to say our higher low is set, and then we'd look back up to 897 resistance. IAN, solid bounce. $2 and $2.15 resistance here. Keeping in mind bigger picture, we're looking for a weekly higher low to try and form for our right shoulder of the weekly inverse head and shoulders pattern that is potentially setting up. And just like everybody else, on the Canadian side, we will need a daily trend change to say the weekly higher low has been set. GTII, upper wick of profit taking. Weekly consolidation underway. Anything above 1133 is a weekly higher low, but no indication that short-term consolidation is done just yet. There's no major red flags on this consolidation. Need an hourly trend change. Need to hold 1242 and break 1326 for an hourly trend change to take place, which would be a notable shift in momentum if that could happen. And wrapping it up with Harv, weak bounce. I don't like clarity here at all. We need a weekly higher low and a bull break of 475 to change the weekly trend and try and join the stronger names in the sector. So congrats again for the CGC bulls trying to lead the way. $25 is a key short-term resistance. If we fail to break $25 and lose the hourly uptrend from that point, we have a 4-hour equilibrium to be watching. So it's all about 25 tomorrow, which is still over 4% away, just about 4%. Things are going to get interesting. But some hope. The upgrade with some hope for today. And the biggest takeaway for me is how much influence some of these upgrades still have. So hope you're well. We'll check back in tomorrow. Best case scenario, another green day to create even more space because some of these names are not positioned well for bulls. OGI definitely needs more. A lot of these USMJ names definitely need more follow through on their bounce to not be little daily bear flags. And we'll see how the market responds to Apple earnings, which have not come out yet. Hope you have a good rest of your day. See you tomorrow.